Hello and welcome to the Refined Strength podcast. I am joined by the lovely and new IFBB Pro, Miranda Defler. How are you
Oh
doing
my
today?
goodness. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me, Rachel. And I am so good. I feel like that's the first time I've heard that sit show
Like from someone
officially.
else other
Yeah.
than the announcer? Yeah.
Yeah. Other than myself, I'm a professional.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank
So,
you.
yes, I'm so excited to have you on. We're now like 2 weeks post show, right? Post Pittsburgh Pro, or Pittsburgh Natural Power Fit. And it's funny, like I've known you, whatever, just through Instagram for a long time. I think when I first started competing back in 2015, I I think I followed you back then, like back 2016, 2017. So it's been social media is so interesting because we get to like watch people's lives and like feel like we know them, even
Yes.
though we haven't even really talked that much. So this episode I feel like was just like a long time coming. I'm excited to like hear more from you about your journey. And the cool thing about it is that you've come so far and you've done so much while also competing towards this goal of going pro. So take me through just like a little bit of who you are and like how you got here.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you. First off, thank you for having me. I'm so excited. I feel like this is the first time I'm actually getting to decompress and
Talk
talk
about it.
about the
Yeah.
journey. And it's been 7 years, which is crazy. I did my first show in 2017. And truly, when I first started this, I didn't think pro, anything like that. It was like, let's just dabble in this, kind of see what happens. And the first time I stepped on stage, it was like a fire was lit. Like a whole new Miranda came to life. And it was just so cool to experience that. And then I was like, I'll definitely be back. And then from there, I went on to the 2020 Arnold Amateur, got second. And that's when the pro fire was lit. Cause it was like, man, if we're this close, my third show ever, let's freaking go. Let's see how far we can take this. And yeah, ever since then, it has just been guns ablazing, doing everything I can to create that pro mentality, create that pro physique, and just create truly my greatest version of what I knew I was ultimately capable of. So that's a little bit about the bodybuilding aspect of it. But to throw, to add to it, 2020 was also a crazy year just because of COVID and
Yeah.
the world turned upside down. But really, I think in those moments, we either lean in and adjust, or we say this is crazy and we just kind of sit there. And funny thing about that is that 2020, as soon as I got home, all of the gyms closed, and even the 2020 show, I competed with no audience. It was the craziest thing
Yeah.
ever.
I remember.
Yeah, but it was also such a blessing because I didn't even know if I was going to be able to compete. And so I'm doing all this work, get up there, and then we don't know if we're going to compete. So the fact that I could even step on stage, I was just like, thank you. Thank you. So it was such a whirlwind. In 2020, I came home and the gyms had closed right after that. And I just took to social media. Truly, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this accountability. I have to reverse diet and I have no gym. What am I going to do? This is going to be tough. But I just started sharing on social media, and I swear one thing led to another. Women were asking me for help, and then I realized I enjoyed helping women so much find their own confidence and find their own ability. It literally led to me starting a business on accident. One thing
And what
led
were
to
you
another.
doing at the time for work?
So I was actually a transportation safety specialist at UPS.
That's what I thought. I was like, I
Yes.
feel like she worked at UPS, but am I making that up? Because it's
No.
such like a random thing. And most people that get into coaching, I feel like they come from like people right now are either coaching like straight out of high school,
Yes.
right? Like they're
Yeah.
influencers and then they're coaches, or they start as a personal trainer or something like that and then get into it then. But Yeah, so you started coaching and just like finding that. Obviously that I think that was a great time to start that in 2020 for a lot of people. So what you started your business, Impact,
Yes.
and what led you to you got success, I would say rather quick from what I could see, but obviously it's always like different from the outsider's perspective to the inside.
Yeah.
How long did it take you before you were able to feel like, okay, I can just do this full time and I can quit my job?
Yeah, so I also feel like it was kind of quick too, but I think it was also because I never envisioned that for my life. Like it's weird that you don't think about it and then you start doing something and it just lights your soul on fire and it's like, how did I not see this? Like
Yeah,
coming from the girl who when she was 8 years old, she was helping the kids in the neighborhood do backflips. Like it's always just been
yeah,
in my nature to like help people get better, coach and that kind of thing. So, it did take off rather quickly. First like 6 months, it was just kind of like trial and error and also me figuring out like what I wanted. And then once I really got clear on like, okay, I want all women, I want women who are coming from love with it. I want sustainability. I want teaching them the lifestyle. Like, I want community. I want accountability. I want to make it fun. As soon as I got clear on like the brand and everything I wanted to create, then it was like, okay, one thing after another. We started up team lifts and just the more fun we had, the more it expanded. And it was pretty quick. And then I would say about a year in, I was like, okay, this is exactly where I'm meant to be, doing exactly what I meant to, like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. Like, I can truly envision myself doing that. And then about a year and a half in, I was like, okay, I can make the leap successfully, feel good about it, not feel like I'm in like a scarcity and have to do all of these things. It's like, no, it actually feels like good and aligned. I had put away quite a bit of money to like have a cushion just in case from my corporate job. And then, yeah, made the leap, felt good about it. And just one thing led to another. And now I'm thankful to have a team of two coaches under me and an assistant. So it's wild how it just started out as like just me. And then now it's
yeah.
like we have a whole crew. So it's cool.
Yeah, that's dope. And I think it's really inspiring for a lot of people because I'm sure you might get this too, but there's a lot of people who want to do what we do as coaches and they see the fire, they see how fun it looks and how cool it looks and also like having the flexibility that coaches have over being in a corporate job is attractive as well. But, nobody really thinks about all of those in between moments of like, you worked your corporate job while building your business for a year and a half before you
Mhm.
actually quit.
Yep.
And a lot of people just see the kind of like overnight side. Like they see like, oh wow, she's a great competitor. Oh wow, she's doing this. And like they don't even realize that like how much you're doing. You're working a full-time job while also making the impact that you are on all of these people. And that's not easy to do.
Yeah.
What would you say is like the biggest thing that has helped you just like persevere through that and actually continue increasing in quality rather than decreasing in quality just because of being so busy and burnt out?
Yeah, that's a great question. And truly like looking back, I did burn out. It was tough because I was at UPS for the first year of business and then I took another job that was actually in the transportation industry, but I knew it was going to allow for more flexibility so I
Mm.
could ultimately, and it was overnight. Don't recommend because in my brain I'm like, okay, if I can work overnight, then I can work on the business during the day.
Fuck sleep. We don't need to sleep.
Literally in my as competitors, we are go 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 until we realize like shit, we've got to take care of our bodies.
Yeah.
So there was definitely like a grind period that I was just trying to crank out everything possible. But then it was like as soon as I did hit that burnout, I was like, I can't keep doing this. Like I've got to protect my quality because of that reason. Because I was like, I want to stand. I can't tell these women to take care of themselves, and then I'm not even doing that. I've got to lead by example. So I think the biggest thing is one, getting clear on the vision of what you want to create, how you're going to create that, and then taking the daily action steps to do that, but then also having your values that you will not waver on. So leading by example is one of my core values. And the second I realized like I'm digging
I'm not
myself
doing
into,
that.
yeah, I'm not doing
Yeah.
that. I've got to take a step back and we've got to reassess to make this thing happen and make it sustainable, make it feasible, allow me to be at my best and truly protect my energy.
Yeah, protecting your energy is important, and I think a lot of people hear that type of statement or thing, and they think it's kind of silly or woo woo or whatever. But like, what does protecting your energy mean to you?
Yeah. Um so really like protecting your peace, protecting your energy, I think they go hand in hand because if we sit there and hang out with people who are not supportive, negative, draining our batteries, guess what? We're going to become that person as well. If we are surrounding ourselves by people who are uplifting us, pouring back into us, teaching us to expand, teaching us to grow, we're going to be that way as well. So I think protecting your energy is just being in tune with yourself and saying, hey, how did I feel leaving that situation? Was I drained or was I excited? And truly, like, we all only have one life to live. So why not enjoy our freaking lives? Why not be around people who are going to lift you up? Because truly, the more they lift you up, the more you get to lift them up. And then we all win together versus
Just like this constant energy
yeah.
exchange. And if it's like positive energy given to you and you can give positive energy back, then it's just like this cool, just like everyone's watering their own garden, but also the other garden, and everyone can be happy and get along.
Yeah.
It's like it's that simple. It's like when you learn as a kid like how to treat people and like the difference between right and wrong and like who your friends are and like not to bully people, not to be mean. It's like it's the same thing as an adult. And I think adults overcomplicate life a lot because they think that there's all these rules or these things that they have to think about that aren't don't really matter. At the end of the day, what matters is like how you treat people and how you feel about yourself and where your life is going. And it's not, I think some people feel like it's selfish and that being selfish is a bad thing to really like set boundaries, like not let certain people in your life, not invite certain people into your life, and not stay in a toxic work environment or just like a job that you don't really love. Yes, there's expectations like paying your bills, but there's also being happy. And if you're happier or you feel fulfilled by your job, even though there's always going to be little things that are kind of annoying, there's that in everything in life. But if you feel fulfilled by your job and what you do and you're acting in your purpose and you're living through your values, then you're going to find a way to make ends meet and pay your bills and make money with it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So during that period when you felt like you did kind of burn out, were you in prep during that time or were you in an off season?
No, I was definitely in an off season. It was like, hey, I know where my heart is and I know I want to make this happen. So right now it is all business. Like, yes, I'm going to keep my training. I'm going to keep my structure. I'm going to keep fueling my body. And I was in complete off season with no show in mind of, hey, I want to build this up to a point that I feel it is sustainable and I can make this happen. And then that way I can lean on my team when I do go into the depths of prep. But it was like I wanted to build that up before I took that leap.
Yeah. Setting yourself up for success in that way and choosing to put off a prep timeline, I think is so important for athletes to really hear from someone who is now a pro and is like at a high level as an athlete and as a business owner. Because so much of the time I see this in clients who are like maybe newer, athletes that are newer, but even people that have competed a few times, is they want to be the exception to the rule. They want to be like, well, I can handle it. I can handle like starting a new business and a career and moving across the country and like start, having all of these new things in life that I'm not really sure of yet.
Yeah.
And the prep,
Yeah.
they think that they can handle that. And yeah, you probably can. But what if you can't? Or what if it gets harder than you think it's going to be? Because that's how life is. It's always going to be, always ends up being harder than we think it's going to be, especially if it's something you've never done before.
Absolutely. Well, and I think this kind of goes back to protecting your energy. It's like But if we go all in on one thing, like we're going to be able to master that one thing, and then we're going to be able to like shift the focus and master something else. And it's like, if you want to be great at bodybuilding, like you've got to be able to give it that attention. You've got to be able to lay that foundation of like, hey, this is just who I am and this is what I do. Like by year 7, that's where I eventually got to, is like, my husband was literally like, are you even on prep? Like, because I don't complain. I don't, like, it doesn't feel any different than normal life, because it is my normal life.
But you got there over time after 7 years of doing it. And that's the key, that like a lot of us, like, we want it right away. We want that level of just like peace right away. But it feels really hard. Like, and it feels sometimes, I think some people, like, they'll never get there, but that's just because they haven't been doing it as long. You know, I've been competing now for 10 years, and like my first 5 years, some of the shit that I was doing, like, I cannot even believe or imagine one of my athletes doing, you know?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I love
So how would you say, like, I know when you first started competing, you like were kind of just like bright-eyed, didn't know what you didn't even know. But then over time, I'm sure, as all natural athletes start to feel and realize, is like, wow, this is a lot harder, and this playing field isn't level, because you have, especially in the NPC, especially like, you know, when you were first competing, and then like even halfway through, there was still not very many natural shows in the NPC, and definitely no natural pro qualifiers up until like, I think 2020 was like the first year that Ben Weider became a thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So before you knew that that stuff was available, like the Pittsburgh Power and the Ben Weider and other natural shows, what do you think was the thing that helped you continue on, knowing that like you're going to have to be competing against so many enhanced people, especially in a more muscular division like figure?
I want to say like just being delusional in my own potential. I had heard a lot of ladies talking backstage, and so I knew I was competing against girls who were using stuff, and really I was just like, you know what? I'm already here. All I can do is my best, and like I would win shows. And I'm like, wait, they were just talking about what? So I'm like,
Yeah.
there's something special here. There's genetics, there's work ethic, and also I think it was just that like chip on my shoulder almost of like, I haven't reached my true potential. I don't know what that is yet. And I'm like terrified to die, not meet her. So that literally just pushed me and pushed me and pushed me. And also, I knew growing up as an athlete, like I had a good muscle base. I just knew it was going to take more time. And it was like, man, I think we put so many limits on what we're capable of that I was like, I don't want to put limits. Like, I just want to go all in and see what I can achieve naturally, because I don't feel like I've reached that threshold of my potential yet. So, like, keep tapping into it, keep setting that standard as higher and higher and higher. And let's truly, like, let's see how far we can take this. So, I think that was a big thing. It was just, personally, it just didn't feel aligned with me, and it still doesn't. So it's like I didn't want to waver on what I knew I was capable of, because society, because other people. Trust me, I had a lot of coaches like, man, if you would just, you would already be there. And I'm like, okay, thank you for the compliment, but it doesn't make me proud. Like I want to stay proud, and I want to stay grounded in who I am. And I'm not somebody who will say never. Like I don't want to say never, because you never know where life is going to take you, truly.
Yeah.
But as of right now, it still just doesn't feel like something that is aligned with me. And I think that's because of my delulu-ness and knowing that I still have potential to me. I mean, it's bodybuilding, it's compounding, and it's like, man, if we can just keep stacking the days, we get to keep getting better. And like, that's my entire motto, is better every day. So it's like, how can I level up intentionally every single day, no matter what season I'm in?
Yeah, I think that's really important and really powerful, especially the part about self-awareness. Like, you as a natural athlete, and just as an athlete in general, you're very self-aware of like those goals and those values. Going back to like you as a business owner, you have your values as an athlete too, which is like tapping always working until you can like towards tapping your potential, getting better every day. And it's not that like I'm not going to say that steroids or enhancements are a shortcut necessarily, but they do push things along, right? They help us realize more potential and they do allow us to get better every day. But I kind of had the same mindset when I was competing naturally, is like, I haven't met her yet. Like, I haven't seen that full potential yet. And I haven't tried enough of the things that I know that I could be doing better at before going that route of PEDs. And so I totally feel you in like knowing, well, like, because for me, I went pro naturally as well against all enhanced people.
Yeah.
And like that was really cool. And I was super proud of that. But at the same time, I was also realistic and knowing that like, okay, now I got to take more time off and I have to like work towards the next level, being a pro and wanting to try it naturally as a pro. And, you know, we all have our own journeys and our differences in like how our values change, but also just like how the world around us changes and how what our goals and priorities are within competing. And I think for you being so strong and grounded in who you are right now and who you know you could become, like there's all these different paths. You could continue on naturally, you could continue on and go the enhanced route, but there's no rules. Like you don't have to do one or the other. And I think a lot of people get bogged down and they end up jumping into something that they're not ready for yet because they think there are rules. Like how many times have you been told that like all IFBB pros are enhanced? You're going to have to be that in order to be a successful pro or in order to get your pro card. I heard that more times than I could count. And I had a lot of people that were really fucking mean to me about it too.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's another thing is like, all you have to do is find proof. And like, I literally remember following you and Naomi Haley, and both of you guys went pro naturally. And I was like, dude, it's possible. It's possible. And that wasn't even like back when, just like you said, you went up against girls who were enhanced. So I was like, dude, watch me. I'm going to put in enough time to make it happen. Like,
yeah.
If there's proof of one person, it's like, why not you? Like, we just have to, and something my coach always tells me too is like, it's not a matter of if, but it's a matter of when. It's like, you're going to do anything you set your mind to. It's just, how long are you willing to pour your heart into it?
Yeah. And with natural athletes too, like you have to have that strong sense of like, it can happen, but I do have to be more patient. And sometimes patience isn't just the time, but it's also like patient with how your body changes over time, and have patience with like how to handle your off seasons and your reverse diets, and patience with like your and just like awareness about like where your body is at now versus where it was at 5 years ago. Cause as we age, our body changes, our hormones change, and like being just extra specific about how we do everything, because how you do one thing is pretty much how you do everything. And so like you being as dialed in as you are, that has been a big help for you as like getting to such a high level as an athlete, because and being natural too, because a lot of people who want to do the same things you've done now, like they're not even checking the boxes with that much of high quality yet. Then they get mad about the progress they haven't made when they haven't done the work.
Yep. And that's another big thing too, is truly like, yes, the pro card is dope, but I knew it was about who I had to become to achieve that, and the standards that I was going to hold myself to, and the boundaries, the things I would not waver on, and literally like making that lifestyle like a standard of high achieving. It's like I'm checking the boxes at a level that I've never checked them at. And it's like going back to like raising that standard. It's like, even when you think you can't, there's another level in there. And another level you have to tap into, because it's like, if you aren't bringing your best, you're not going to show up with that level of confidence on stage, knowing you gave it your absolute all in that journey. So I think it just goes back to, we have to be honest with ourselves. And the thing is I've I've chased the body for shows, and truly, it's not about that body. We know that body lasts what, 4 hours, and then we're like, bye, bye, sis. But it's about the person we become. It's about the values we follow to get there. It's about the standards we hold ourselves to, and it's about the self-respect we have for ourselves, proving that we can do anything we set our minds to. So it's like when we can tap into that, and I have a big saying, go to bed proud, because I'm like, only you know what you need to do every single day to go to bed proud. But if you're just going through the motions and making excuses why you can't check your boxes, I promise you, you're laying your head on that pillow and you're not proud. You're trying to negotiate with yourself that you are proud. But
Well, and you're also probably letting other people's opinions in more easily too. It's like if you're not going to bed proud because you didn't do all the things that you should have done to do that, then you're probably also just wavering and letting other noise in. But when you're only focused on making yourself proud, it doesn't matter what, keyboard warrior Joe over here says. It doesn't matter what, this person at the gym says, or what even honestly, even what the judges say. If a judge were to tell you something that, made you feel like, man, am I ever going to get there? Like at the end of the day, yes, the judges, obviously, they're the ones that decide the fate on stage. But at the same time, like they're just giving you feedback to improve from where you're at that day. And you're the one, it's up to you and your coach to figure out how to make that feedback a reality. And sometimes it's going to take years off or a harder, longer prep. But if you can dream it, you can do it. It's a matter of like being so consistent and so persistent that you do it for long enough for you to actually see results versus doing it for long enough for you to get kind of like tired of it and let that fatigue hold you back from continuing on. Because it's usually like after a big day of just being so fucking tired, or like a moment or a time period where you just feel like you're in the grind and you haven't made it yet. Are you going to make it? It's usually like if you push past just that,
yeah,
then like all of this abundance is on the other side. Whether it's like one day, 1 month, a whole prep, like that's where the abundance is if you've pushed through your hardest point.
absolutely. Absolutely. And it's just pushing through and having that resilience being
Mm-hmm.
built of like, whoa, me a year ago, I couldn't have handled this. But me now, like, let's go.
Yeah.
So I think another thing is just being your own biggest cheerleader and believing in yourself. And truly, like, the belief is built upon the actions. So it's like, if you're struggling with that belief in yourself, girl, start taking action, and that's going to build the belief. And then it's like, build upon that action. And now that, let that be your new standard. And going back to the whole compounding thing, like, it's just a matter of time, and it's putting in the reps.
Yeah. And I think recognizing the fruit of that too is a really important part of like, it's like you saying, I needed proof. All I needed was like one person to show me that it was possible. So you can be that proof for yourself too. So like in my check-ins with my athletes, I have them write down wins for their like wins from the week. And so a big part of that is them recognizing the positives in their life, even on a hard week or something like that. Because if you can recognize something you did right, or recognize something that was like a surprising positive or a surprising win for yourself, like I stepped on the scale and it was up and I didn't cry about it, like it wasn't that big of a deal. That win is something, if you recognize it, your brain accepts that as like proof. It accepts it as something, as like a reason to keep going. Well, if this worked, everything's been working, so I guess I can just keep going, and I can keep looking for these positives and these things that I'm able to do, because old me didn't think I was even able to do that, but look at me, I just did it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's so powerful too, of just looking for the good. It is
Mm-hmm.
so easy to see the negative. It is so easy to compare yourself. It's all over.
Yeah.
But truly, like, comparing yourself to the old version of you, that's all you can control. And
Yeah.
I always talk about focus on what you can control, because truly, like, you can't control who is around you, like who is winning, that kind of thing. But you can control your actions and how you're winning in your life and your standards and everything like that. So I think that's incredible that you have them do the wins, because it gets them laser focused on the positives when
Yeah. Positivity is such a profound effect on the brain and our self-efficacy. If we know that there is something positive out of the work that we're doing, no matter how hard it is, we know that we can keep doing and keep producing more positive things.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What have you always had that sense of just like really focusing on the controllables only, or was there something in your life that kind of helped you see that more for what it is and see how powerful it is?
That's a good question. I'm gonna say no because when I was younger, I, like, freaked out over everything. Like, we were running late. I was like a mess. I would just get emotional about everything. And truly, like, bodybuilding, I think my first prep really taught me that emotional control, because it was like, man, if you're freaking out every time you're hungry, every time
You're not gonna last.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it's like every time something doesn't go the way you plan, like, yeah, you're not gonna last it. You're gonna make it so much harder on yourself. And one quote I always go back to is, "You either conquer yourself or you be conquered by self." And literally, like, my first prep was a big eye opener. But I think that's what allowed the growth, is to be like, no, you've got to get this under control, because your husband is not choosing this prep. You are. So you cannot take it out on him because you're. So
Yeah.
just like having that self awareness and ability to pause and say, hey, is this how I actually want to respond? Or like, is this just my unconscious pattern right now? And conquering, I won't say it's conquered, because I think we're always working on that, but just making leaps and bounds of where I used to be and taking back the control and saying, hey, no, I do have the ability to control how I respond in every situation. That was a game changer. That was like, whoa, I just actually put myself back in the driver's seat instead of letting everyone else run my life.
Yeah, that's big. Like you truly are the driver of your life and you don't have to be a victim of your own circumstances. So much of the time, like, yeah, bad shit happens. And I am like, I'll admit, yes, I've had some bad things happen to me, and I've also am very lucky in my life. I haven't had some bad things happen, but at the end of the day, anyone can take something bad or negative that happened to them or that happened because of them or because of someone else, whatever it is, and you get to choose. Like, you are in control of your own mind and you're in control of what you're afraid of. And I think fear, even though like the word fear might not like resonate with everybody, but I think it's fear is like the biggest thing that holds us back. It's like fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of like not being able to do something, whatever the fear is, it's there, and that's what's holding you back, because you think that whatever it is that happened to you or whatever negative was in your life or is in your life, that's the thing that's stopping you from reaching your potential. So why even try to control your mind or whatever? But that's like that's the cheat code, is that you can control it. You can control how you react to some of your thoughts and react to that fear, and you can decide like, hey, is this really logical for me to be afraid of this, or could I just try something different, or could I just try a little harder or longer?
Yeah. It also goes back to those rules of like what society tells you, and
Mm-hmm.
just being like, is this true? Because it's like there's so many things that it's just like, what if that wasn't true? Like, it doesn't have to be true. Like, we make the rules up. So it's
Yeah,
cool.
like people will often say like, well, why would I be able to do this? Like, why should I think that I can do this? And that's such a limited mindset, and you could literally flip it over and say the opposite, like, well, why not me?
Yeah,
Why
why
couldn't
not
I do
you?
this? Yeah. Is
Absolutely.
that Tell me more about just like your how is this prep for this pro card? How has that been different than any other prep, if it has been?
Oh my gosh, it's been immensely different. I will say the biggest thing was love. Like, I was like, I just want to love every single day of this journey. And I think that, like, I think the reason I went in with that mentality is because one, I wanted to enjoy it. But two, I had taken such a long off season that it was like my lifestyle. So nothing really like changed. And I realized, like, I get to do this. I get to love this journey. So it's like, how can I come from so much love with it? And like, I've implemented things like I will get up and just pose and just flow and like enjoy it. And like, sometimes, yes, I wake up and I'm like, oh my God, I have to go pose. But then I'm like, no, you know what? I
Get to do it.
I get to do this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, what else can I do to like romanticize it? So I'll put on like, I'll light a candle. I'll put on like pink lights or like, it's just like stupid little things that just bring me joy that I'm like, no, you know what? I'm actually living my dream life. Like, what? I can't even complain about getting up and having to pose. Like, and then even just like taking better care of my body. I use the hot tub every single morning and it sounds so like dumb, but me just like going out and just sitting and having 10 minutes with myself, like before I take on the day, it's still pitch black dark out before I go do cardio or anything. And it's just like, that's like my little space of peace and joy, and just implementing little things like that, taking a walk, pairing it with a good podcast that I enjoy, that lights me up. I think it's just finding the fun in all of it and choosing the joy. It's like, even on the hard days, like earlier, I'm struggling like in the gym and I'm like, oh my gosh, I still have to do all of these pull-ups and like we got the pro card but it's like the mountain resets. Like
Yeah.
we got a new mountain to climb. So yes, we get to do these pull-ups and now we're doing them as a pro. So let's go.
Yeah. You just be grateful for like the mountain that you just conquered, but that doesn't mean that you're done. And you had to do a lot of things that you never had to do before because you had never gone to this level. But now you're at this level because you did those things that were new or just slightly different. And so that doesn't just automatically give you the ability to maintain that. You have to continue leveling up and continue climbing.
What got us here will not get us to that next level. So
Yeah,
it's like
exactly.
continuing to build upon that. Also, it's just like, man, life is more exciting when you're chasing after those goals, but then you're also like taking time to appreciate where you are right here, right now. And truly, like, it lights me up to raise that standard. It lights me up to see what I'm capable of. So it's like, if you can find the joy in the journey, like, I don't know what else you could ask for. Like, that's
Yeah,
fulfilled for
like
me.
I'm having fun doing this. Like this is great. It
Yeah.
blows my mind how many people really focus on the negative or the, like just how hard it is and how like the grind. They want to focus on this like dark side of bodybuilding when like I tell my athletes this when I feel like they're overthinking bodybuilding in ways like bodybuilding is pretty silly. Like it's really not that serious if you really think about it. Like we're totally overhauling our life, all of our habits, behaviors, everything. Like we spend all this money on supplements, on drugs for some of us, on clothes, suits. Like you spend $1,000 on bikini and then you get on stage for 5 minutes. Like that's crazy. That is like the ultimate just like privileged shit. And you're here feeling like you're making this massive sacrifice for it when in reality like no, you should be having fun. And because you look cool, you look great on stage, and then you look great when you're like full and curvy in your off season. You get to look great in all these different ways because you do this sport. And now, as a coach, you make money basically off of the sport and you make a living, you can pay your bills and have, support your family. But people, especially those who are not doing that part of it, who are just competing as a hobby, they overthink it and they take it too seriously. They sometimes create a whole identity just around bodybuilding. And they feel like if I'm not a good bodybuilder, I'm no one. And that I think is the saddest thing that is so unnecessary but so common in the sport.
Yeah. For sure, for sure. And I think another point on that is like, it's actually like so, yes, it's so silly, but it's like so simple. Like, we do the work, we get the results. Like, when you don't do the work, you don't get the results. So it's like, also, bodybuilding should add to your life. So it's like, how can we use the discipline that we're building, the consistency, the intention, and allow that to pour over into every part of our life? Because us as humans, we're multifaceted. None of us have just one identity. And the second we lean into one identity, we're literally selling ourselves short. We're not like respecting the human, the soul that we are, because there are so many different things that we're meant to conquer throughout our lives and like become. And if we're putting ourselves in a box, that's literally what society tries to do. So it's
Yeah.
like, don't limit yourself to just a one thing of being a bodybuilder. It's like, hey, let that be part of who you are, but it doesn't have to be everything. And truly, like, I think it goes back to the whole rules thing too. Because if you're trying to prove it to everybody else, sis, I did that for too long. Don't do that. You've got to prove it to you. And that's another thing with this prep is it was so personal. It was so, I'm coming from love. I'm tapping into another level of me that I've never met before. And that's all I can ask for. And when you do that, like, you're going to keep raising those own personal standards, and you have nothing to, you get to like let your light shine. I think so many times, like, when we're trying to prove it to others that, oh my God, we're getting on this stage, it's like, okay, what about those hard moments? What about those, like, are you really gonna be thinking about that person that you're trying to prove it to back from high school? Like, no. You've got to be doing it for you and to truly get everything out of this sport and tap into that version of you that loves herself, that respects herself, that takes care of herself, that is willing to go to a hard place to meet your next level version.
Hmm. Yeah, that when we wrap so much of our being into bodybuilding, it might get you from point A to point B and even get you a win, but what do you have after that?
Who are you?
You might
Yeah.
feel like a shell of yourself because now it's over and like, yeah, you got some congratulations, you got a trophy, maybe you even got a pro card, but what's left? Did you alienate everyone in the pursuit of creating that win? Because a lot of people do that and then they find out the downside of that, which is like, well, now you're alone. And what humans want truly, like what we need to be happy, is community and connection. And
Absolutely.
like whether that's with a partner or like a significant other or friendship or teammates or your coach, whatever it is, even just like a following, when you're so wrapped up in just the validation of a trophy or just the validation of like followers or engagement on social media, then it might feel like a good idea at the time because of how that dopamine hit feels or how you think it's going to feel. But what happens when that goes down? You're left with not like people that probably think ill of bodybuilding because you alienated them for bodybuilding. You treated them poorly because you were tired and hungry and you made that as an excuse. So you sacrificed showing up for people because you would have rather showed up for yourself, even though you could have done both. So the fallacy that you have to give your entire self to bodybuilding in order to be a good bodybuilder is actually going to make you a worse bodybuilder and a worse human long term. You won't have the longevity to like have everything you want as both if you do that.
Absolutely. And that's another reason why I'm like so big on love, because it's like ultimately, like, when this is all said and done, I want a legacy. I want an impact. I want people to be like, you know what? Because of her, like, I believed in myself more because of her. Like, and if we're searching for that validation in others, like, we're literally giving up our power. We're
Yeah,
literally giving up our happiness.
because you're giving it to them,
Yeah.
not yourself.
And like, we can't control what they say. We can't control what they think of us. Like, and if you're trying to control the perceptions of what everyone thinks about you, you're actually being a shell of yourself, because you're like, you're wearing these masks, and it's like, we don't allow our light to fully shine. And truly, like, when we allow our light to shine, we give others permission to be their truest self. And I'm like, have you ever seen a girl like lit up in her truest self? Like, it's the coolest thing ever. You're like, oh my gosh, she's magnetic. She's chasing after everything she ever has wanted. Like, she believes in herself. Um, it's it's incredible, because so much of our lives is spent hiding behind what we think everybody else wants from us. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
always say impacted women impact women. And it's like, once you've been affected by somebody who believes in you, like, you're like, okay, let's go.
Yeah. Yeah, you can really see that, and I've seen that in you as you've built up impact and you have such a rich community of women that support each other and just like hype each other up. I saw you had like all of your athletes wrote you letters or something for your for nationals, and just like that wouldn't be a thing. They wouldn't have thought to do anything like that and try to impact you in that way and make you cry on show day if you had not impacted them. And like you're impacting them because like you just want to feel what you felt from, people who have impacted you, like Autumn, like, other people in your life. And like that's that energy exchange again of just like you create good things, more good things will come to you. You are proud of yourself and you love yourself, well, you're going to get more people that love you. And how great is that?
Yeah. Well, and also when we love ourselves, we're giving others the permission to love
Hmm.
themselves. And
Yeah.
like they see it by leading by example. Going back
Hmm.
to that. And yes, that I was emotional mess reading those. Literally my team got together behind my back, had all the girls write letters, and literally show day morning I had a folder of so many letters, just like, because of you I kept going, because of this, and like just certain moments that I didn't even realize were huge moments in their lives. And like those little conversations, those little seeds being planted became something much bigger. And it's so cool to see them take back their power and just truly go after those dreams and
Yeah.
get after it.
I don't know about you, but like that type of thing is what I've also allowed to like help me keep going as an athlete, especially in times where I doubt myself or that just like I don't know if I should keep going, right? Because like I had some pretty rough pro seasons of competing myself, and after each of those losses, yes, I was upset, I was disappointed, but I always I tried to just take responsibility for that and know that well, I could have done this better. I could have done this better. I can keep going and try again. And like just because yes that I had the same result of losing that many times, like I still learned from each one. And then through my 21 season, I was coaching full time, and that was a big change in that I got to see the result of applying some of the lessons that I had learned into my athletes, and then seeing the result of that and continuing to watch well, they believe in me so much, I kind of owe it to them too to at least see what my own potential is. So yeah, I'm going to keep going, and then it just continues after that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that kind of goes back to the point of people at the end of the day don't care about the trophies. They don't care about the wins. Like it's so I feel like people already forget about it. It's only been
Yeah,
2 weeks. Like they've got other things they're worried about. But guess what? They're not going to forget how I made them feel.
exactly.
And they're not going to forget the lessons and the energy we've poured into them along the way of showing them, hey, this is what consistency looks like. This is what getting up at 5 a.m., this is what it takes to do the work, to get better every single day, to hold yourself to a higher standard, even when you don't feel like it. And just leaning into that. I think about that too. If I'm in the gym and I'm struggling on a set or something, I'm like, man, I could just get up and leave.
I have the power. I could
I
do that.
do, I
Yeah.
do have the power. But I'm like, you know what? What if one of my girls was here? What if she was
Yeah.
standing right next to me? And I'm like, would I allow her to hold herself to that standard? No. So we're gonna lead the way and we're gonna do hard things first. So let's get it.
Yeah, even if nobody's watching, and that's a
Yeah.
big that's so important to think about when you are in those moments of well, I could, nobody would really know, but that's the most important time it is to actually do the thing and push yourself, because you would know. You would be there on show day. You would be there just even at the end of the day knowing I didn't give everything I had. What has been the hardest moment of your competitive career that made you feel on the edge of not pushing forward?
Goodness. I'm immediate. Oh my gosh, what was it? 23. So two years back, I had a national run and it was a long, hard season. Started out first national show ever, got dead last. So sad. I was like, okay, maybe they're all right. Maybe I don't. And then I was like, I've got better. So we're going to go after another one. So I went after another one like 4 weeks later. And it was a hard push to bring an even better conditioned look. And the next show that I hit up was Junior Nats, and then what, USA's?
Universe.
Universe. Yeah. Universe.
Yeah.
Top 2 got their pro cards. There was 3 in my class. And I got 3rd. And
Like, cool, I got 3rd, but it's
Yeah.
also last.
yeah. And to top it off, we get off stage and I want to cry. Like all I want to do is cry right now, because I'm like, man, this was my one shot. If I could have made it happen, it would have been here. all
Yeah.
I had to do was beat one person. It didn't happen, and I just wanted to cry. And the girl who got 2nd actually came up to me and she was like, "Oh my god, did I just get a pro card? You don't know what you're stepping on stage for." No way.
Oh my god.
No way. That was
Like,
literally
bitch, give that to me. I worked harder for this.
I was like, you don't what? How do you not know who's getting the pro card? Like, I've literally had this written on my mirror. I'm a pro for the past 365 days. And, just looking back, I'm like, man, I'm actually thankful for that, because it literally lit the fire even more. And it was like, you know what? The universe is going to make you work for it.
Yeah.
Time to lean in, time to work harder. And truly, like, that prep, I don't think I came from love with it. I think it was dig, dig, dig. And instead of like this prep, it was like, listen to your body. Communicate when we are getting, because as a natural athlete, I mean, even as an enhanced, you have to listen to your body. If you're just gonna deplete, push, like, you're not gonna look good, happy,
Yeah.
fulfilled on stage. And just being able to have that trust in myself of like, okay, this is too much, I need to communicate, we need to pull back, like I'm pushing edge of sickness or whatever it is, just being in tune with your body. That has been a big thing that has just helped me and my coach stay aligned, be able to adapt as things change.
Well, and also I bet just the fact that you've had the same coach almost this whole time, right? Has Autumn been your coach the whole time you've been competing?
7 years. Yep.
Yeah. So like she's learned so much about your body and preps, and like she's also just evolved as a person and evolved as a coach, I'm sure too. Like it's impossible not to.
Yeah.
And so that you're kind of, as an athlete, I think that's so important to be able to do. Obviously, like some people, yeah, they're not good coaches. So you have to leave.
Yeah.
But if you know that you have a coach that is like listening and is very just like invested in you, that is such a rare and like important thing to respect, and just be that like I know if I give better and if I listen to my body more and I become more in tune, like that coach will be that too. And like if you coach hop and you go from coach to coach to coach trying to see where the grass is greener, it will do you a disservice at some point, because you're not giving anyone a chance to really understand your body and your mind and your soul. Like that is something that I feel so good about for the athletes that I've had for a long period of time, because I just feel like I know them so well. Yeah. Even like more than they even realize I know them,
For sure. And I think one thing about like a great coach is being able to help the athlete come back to home. Yeah. And understand themselves on a deeper level. And that is one thing, like Autumn has literally changed my life, because she's allowed me to do that and like be able to build that trust within myself. Like after every show, it was never like, okay, what do we want to do? I think we should do this. It's like, no, Miranda, what does your heart want? Like, where are you? And like, she would prompt the questions to ask me, like, even in those hard moments of like, okay, do we pull back or do we keep pushing on? Like, what's going to light you up? And like, that was our guiding point the entire time. And that's one thing I try and really, really cultivate with my athletes, because if I can get them listening to themselves and trusting themselves, like they're going to fall in love with the process. They're going to be proud of who they are. And truly, like, why? I don't know. It hurts my heart to see so many like chasing the trophies and just like, you have to do this at all cost. And like people being guided, and it may not even be in the best interest of what they want. And they're just doing it because they're like, oh, this is bodybuilding. This is what we do. And it's like,
It's the next step. I just got to do the next step. Yeah,
yeah. And it's
for
like,
sure.
you are so much more than a trophy. You are like, this is about who we're becoming in the process. So I think just cultivating that in all of it is huge. And I feel like that is one thing you do very, very well with your community as well, of just like listening to them, empowering them, and like working on the mindset of it all, because truly, like, we can only go where that mindset allows us to go, and bodybuilding is not forever. Like, all of this, everything is temporary. So it's like, how can we ultimately become the best versions and most in tune with ourselves?
Yeah, I agree. Thank you. I think that mindset piece is sometimes, as a coach who, like, there's one side of me as a coach who, I want to elevate. I want to get better. I want to get, some pro cards this year. I want to do X, Y, and Z. And I have goals for myself, but those goals are only dependent on my athlete's goals. And so, like, yeah, if I don't ask more of those questions of like, what do you really want? How do you feel truly about where we're at right now, or where you're going, or anything, then it doesn't matter what I want. Like, what I want might actually not be the best thing for them if they're not aligned with what we're doing. And so that's definitely been something that I know I have to always remind myself of, especially because we can't want it more than the athlete does. And that's something that's really easy to get into, of just continue to push, and you're used to needing to push someone because they need that. That's what they hire you for. But those questions here and there, they do really matter. And it also instills trust in the coach, and it deepens that relationship too. It's like, I'm sure every time you've asked someone that, they've felt like, that's probably like the only time they've been asked that type of question from someone, especially in bodybuilding. It's like, nobody else is really asking you if you really want this, because nobody else can really understand why you want it, or why you want it in the first place. And so having someone ask you and really be like a part of that conversation, and a part of the growth wherever that conversation leads, that's really powerful, and it can create such a tight bond. And then if you have that, and if you have that alignment, there's like, you can go so far together.
Absolutely.
I had a client call recently where it was kind of started out by like me asking that question, actually, like, what do you really want to do? Because like, I was afraid the call she requested was going to be about like, I think I'm done with prep. I got to pull out. But it was really like, because it was too hard. That's what I thought that she was going to say from what she had requested. And it was really the opposite. It was like, I just don't know if I'm allowed to deserve, if I deserve what I want, because I feel like it's too easy. That was what the call was about. And I was like, well, shit, that's great. Like, if you want it, then let's keep going. And that's what a cool part of that, like what you just said, that because I had that call today, is yeah, just sometimes we gotta reiterate and remind ourselves what we really want and why we want.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I love that I love that we as humans are able to help others
Yeah.
cultivate like their inner voice, because it's like, man, the outside world can get so loud. And when chances are she was on social media and everybody's talking about how hard it is. And
Exactly.
like, wait, am I doing something wrong? It's like, no,
Yeah.
you actually just built the foundation and you're enjoying it. So
imagine that. You're doing something you love, and you're allowed to love it, and you're allowed to have fun with it.
yeah.
Yeah.
It gets even better when you do that. And I'm like, man, I wish that was like my first journey. But like, if I can give that to my clients and like educate them along the way, then it's cool. It's a win-win.
Yeah, it's truly like part of making bodybuilding just a better place, and a more supportive and just like positive environment, because it's really easy for the environment to get just very dark, like we talked about earlier.
Yep.
Especially with like just the drama and politics,
The
and
egos,
just like
the
all of the scary things out there. It's because it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah.
So what are your plans now? Now that you're a pro, do you know yet what you're going to do? What do you really want?
What I really want is a burger, but we are going to wait on that burger. So I'm actually doing pro debut in 3 weeks. So I am
Where?
Georgia.
Okay.
So
What
they're
show is
doing
that?
Georgia. Clash of the Titans, brand new Natural Pro show.
That's awesome.
So I'm excited. Curious. I feel like there's not a lot of information about it at all. So yeah, I don't. It's all kind of new.
Funny. I thought the same thing about, they just had the Natural Vegas Pro a couple of weeks ago. I was at that. I was doing the music for it, and I remember telling the promoter, like, nobody knows about this show. You know that, right? like
Yeah.
you guys could have promoted this more. And I think it's hard because I've talked to a lot of promoters about like the natural thing, and it's like, it's cool because like it's coming from above. Like the NPC and IFBB want more natural shows so they can, obviously, yeah, it's a business, they want to make more money, but like it's also part of that is giving more opportunities to natural athletes. Like nobody's gonna keep showing up to the pro natural or like the natural pro qualifiers if there's no natural pro shows, because it just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to then go and do New York Pro, right? Like
Yeah.
you're just, it's not going to be fun.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a good time. So yeah, just like having that separate track I think is really cool, and I'm really glad that like a figure show is that close for you. That's so exciting.
Yeah. So it's wild. It's actually only Natural Pro figure and classic physique.
Nice.
So,
cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited. I'll definitely I'll be tuning into that one, and I'll be thinking about you.
Oh, thank you.
So thank you for being on this episode. I'm super excited for you. I know a lot of women especially will be really happy to hear your wisdom and just like your journey, because I think it's really powerful, and you are such a light to so many in not just your community but the industry. Like you've been a light to me, like me watching you over the years and like seeing you grow as an athlete but also as a business owner. It's really cool to see like cool people doing cool things and like getting what they deserve. So all of Miranda's information will be down below in the show notes. If you want to join the Impact Empire, if you want to just follow along on her journey, it'll all be down there.
Rachel, seriously, thank you. Thank you. It was so good to have this long overdue, but woman, likewise. You have literally inspired me so much. And just to see your light shine through and to see you keep tapping into different levels. Even this podcast, I'm like, man, Rachel's on her podcast game. Like, that's incredible. And running.
Oh, this is like the third recording I've had this week. So I'm like, I'm like catching my breath after this one. But yeah, it's all worth it because I get to have these types of conversations, and I feel really lucky to do it. Even if, only 100 people watch it, it's still worth it to me. So
when I watch them on YouTube. Good. So thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We will see you on the next one.